tragedy that this happened, and it's ridiculous.
A North Texas donut shop is a crime scene tonight after a woman is found shot to death inside.
And now, CBS 11 at 6.
Good evening, I'm J.D. Miles. Betty Wynn is off tonight. Garland police want to know why a woman was gunned down at a local donut shop. The body of 73-year-old Lucy Clark was found just before 6 this morning at the Dunkin' Donuts on the corner of South Garland Avenue and West Avenue D. CBS 11's Robbie Owens joins us live from the scene with the latest. Robbie?
J.D.,
Now, police are on the scene of a deadly car crash in Balk Springs tonight. The accident happened shortly before 4 this afternoon at 635 and Elam Road. Details are still coming in, but investigators say it appears one car hit the other from behind. That car then spun around, hitting a guardrail. Police say on the scene that a man, a woman, and 3 children were taken to local hospitals. The medical examiner confirms one child later died. We'll have more details for you on this story tonight at 10. A 3-alarm apartment fire in Grand Prairie has investigators there searching for a cause. The fire broke out around midnight at the Fox Chase Apartments. 12 units sustained damage. 2 of those apartments were vacant. Everyone who lived in the complex got out safely, but one firefighter suffered heat exhaustion while battling the blaze. Investigators believe the fire started on the top floor. Well, the owners of a Fort Worth craft store got a chance to go back into their business today to assess the damage from a huge fire there. CBS 11's Stephanie Lucero just got back from the store and joins us now with more on customers who are anxious to find out if the store is going to recover.
That's
Stephanie?
right, J.D. The flames and the smoke were dramatic. J.D., the Fort Worth Fire Department also says it could be a few weeks before they determine the cause of the fire.
A tough break for the store. Let's hope they get back on their feet soon.
Right.
All right, thanks, Stephanie. An important day at the polls in Dallas. Today, voters are deciding whether to speed up improvements to the Dallas area rapid transit system. It's one of the largest bonds in state history, nearly $3 billion in long-term financing. If approved, DART light rail service will get to a number of suburbs years ahead of schedule, which could ease growing air traffic and pollution problems. Opponents, though, are concerned about the possible financial burden of repaying the bonds. Another concern is low voter turnout for an election held on a Saturday during the summer. Only 5% of the eligible voters are expected to turn out for today's election, but 13,000 people sent in absentee ballots and voted early by mail. We'll have the results of today's election for you tonight at 10. Well, the dog days of summer are here with another 100-plus degree day. But did we break a record? Gwen Talbert joins us live with a look at the numbers. Gwen?
Well, if you spent any time out...
Thanks, Gwen. An Arlington mother whose son is battling cancer is doing her part to raise awareness about the need for bone marrow donors. Six Christian rock bands performed at Trinity Park in Fort Worth for a day-long concert called Rock in the Park. Donna Hagenson organized the event to get more people to sign up for bone marrow testing. Donna's 4-year-old son has cancer. After 2 years of chemotherapy, he's in remission, but if the cancer returns, his only option will be a bone marrow transplant. If you'd like to know more about the Hagensons' next fundraiser, you can check the organization's website at givethanks.net. In just 2 days, the political spotlight will shine on Los Angeles. That's where the Democrats are getting ready for their national convention. But they aren't the only ones gearing up for the event. Details straight ahead. But first, Ford takes action following the Firestone tire recall. We'll explain coming up. An investigation continues tonight following a deadly Navy helicopter crash in the Gulf of Mexico. The last 2 Navy airmen were pulled from the water yesterday afternoon, a day after the chopper crashed near Corpus Christi during a training mission. It brings the total number of airmen killed to 4. 2 others on board were hurt. Crew members reported mechanical problems just before the chopper went down. Ford Motor Company is taking matters into its own hands following a massive Firestone tire recall. Last week, Firestone recalled ATX and Wilderness tires sold on Ford light trucks and vans. The government is linking the tires to hundreds of accidents and several dozen deaths. Firestone's nationwide recall will take more than a year, but Ford isn't waiting around. The automaker is authorizing all of its dealerships to replace them immediately with non-Firestone tires. Tarrant County Crime Stoppers is trying to track down a man who may be surfing the internet to meet young children. Here is the man Fort Worth police want to question. Investigators don't know his name, but believe he is living in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Officers say they suspect he molested at least one boy he met online. If you have any information about the case, call Crime Stoppers at 817-469-8477. That's 469-TIPS. Crime Stoppers will pay $1,000 for information that leads to an arrest. Well, there's only one word to describe today's weather, and it's spelled H-O-T. Gwen Talbert is coming up to tell us if we'll get a break anytime soon. But first, Democrats prepare for their turn in the spotlight. The latest on Campaign 2000 and the Democratic National Convention up next.
This is CBS 11 at 6.
Texas Democrats are making their way to Los Angeles this weekend for the start of next week's National Convention. The official start of the convention is Monday, but the party will hold a kickoff bash tomorrow night. 231 Texas delegates and 32 alternates will be part of the four-day gathering that will end on Thursday with the likely nomination of Al Gore for president and Joseph Lieberman as his running mate. Protesters are already setting up outside the Staples Center, preparing for a week of demonstrations. Issues expected to take center stage at the convention: health care, education, and Social Security. Keep it here on CBS 11 for continuing coverage of the Democratic National Convention. We'll bring you live reports from Los Angeles beginning tomorrow. Well, Vice President Al Gore is campaigning as he makes his way to the convention. Today, the presidential candidate stopped in Springdale, Pennsylvania to renew his commitment to the environment. Gore visited environmentalist author Rachel Carlson, whose book Silent Spring raised awareness to a national level. Governor Bush began his day on the West Coast. The Republican presidential candidate spoke to supporters in Everett, Washington. He focused on military issues, saying he hoped to restore high spirits to the armed services. Bush later traveled to Arizona, where he'll stay with former rival Senator John McCain.
And now, Storm Team 11 weather with Gwen Talbert.
And Gwen, speaking of the environment, when are we going to see some rain?
Oh my goodness, now you really want me to offer up something. Can't give you any rain, not in the very near future.
Well, at least it looks like the other parts of Texas are at least getting some.
Well, even the other parts of the country, they're just getting really soaked with, especially on the East Coast. Well, here's where we are right now. Rest of the week, just hot and dry and sunny.
All right, we're prepared for it.
We are.
Thanks, Gwen. Well, tonight, one of the Rangers will try to do something that no other player has done this year. And the Cowboys will host the Oakland Raiders tomorrow at Texas Stadium. Brian Custer has more next in sports.
Brian Custer.
The Cowboys seem to be taking a lot of heat for a preseason record.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's kind of strange?
They never do well in the preseason, but you should expect to see the first team a lot more tomorrow. Well, the Cowboys are back.
6 back, that's still striking distance for Tiger.
You know that. You know there's something going to happen tomorrow with Tiger.
He's still in contention, that's for
Exactly.
sure. Well, thanks, Brian.
All right.
And thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you back here at 10, and we'll let you know if Gabe gets his record-breaking hit, or the Cat Man, as Brian likes to say. Until then, have a great evening. It looks like one of the largest bond elections in Texas history will pass tonight. Voters overwhelmingly approved nearly $3 billion in bonds to speed up improvements to the Dallas area rapid transit system. Good evening and thanks for joining us. Mass transit in the Dallas area is moving into the fast lane. Voters have said yes to expanding the DART system ahead of schedule. It's similar to a bond package that failed in 1988. As many as 10 Grand Prairie residents are relocating tonight while fire investigators try to figure out what caused their apartment complex to go up in flames. The fire broke out around midnight at the Fox Chase Apartments. Flames damaged 12 units. 2 of those were already vacant. Fortunately, no one was seriously hurt, though one firefighter suffered from heat exhaustion. It took almost a full day to completely douse this fire at a Fort Worth craft store. The building burned yesterday afternoon and smoke was seen for miles. Now customers are anxious to know if the artwork they had inside was destroyed. CBS 11's Stephanie Lucero was the only reporter to go into the building with the owners to see what was left. Damage from the fire is estimated at $2 million. Fort Worth fire investigators say it could be weeks before they determine a cause. Well, it took 30 years, but students from the 1970 graduating class from Texas Tech finally got to throw their hats into the air. A deadly tornado ripped through Lubbock 3 decades ago, killing 26 people and injuring 500 more. Because of that, Texas Tech postponed its 44th commencement that year. It was rescheduled for today. The 250 graduates finally got to walk across the stage and receive their diplomas. A special concert in Arlington today raised awareness for bone marrow registration. The mother who organized the event is on a personal crusade. Her 4-year-old son has cancer and has been through 2 years of chemotherapy. Tonight, CBS 11's Jim Walker explains how the mother is trying to help her son while also helping others. I'm a big Mickey Rivers fan. I'm a little bittersweet about Gabe going after this record.
Yeah, well, sorry, the record's gone.
Okay, well, I'm happy for him. I mean, it's great. It's great for the Rangers.
It is. Just 6 strokes back.
You know, I think you've got a future with that What's Up and some of those
You think
commercials.
so?
I think so.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brian.
You're welcome.
All right, well, that's CBS 11 at 10. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Have a great evening.
CBS 11 tonight.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm J.D. Miles.
And I'm Betty Wynn. It's decision time for presidential hopeful George W. Bush. The Texas governor is expecting.
Angela Hale, CBS 11.
And Angela, some political experts say the sooner Governor Bush makes his pick, the better. It will allow the American voters more time to get to know his running mate.
The man charged with finding George W. Bush's running mate landed in Dallas about an hour ago. And CBS 11's Robbie Owens joins us live from Halliburton Aviation with more on Dick Cheney's arrival and what it could mean. Robbie?
Well, J.D., normally 11 Dallas.
All right, thanks, Robbie. Stay with CBS 11 for the most comprehensive coverage of Campaign 2000 and Governor Bush's decision on who will run for the White House with him. We have a crew following the governor at his ranch in Crawford and another following his developments at the governor's ranch in Austin. We'll have live reports for you all day tomorrow. Now, a memorial service will be held tomorrow for one of 2 Texas teenagers killed in a helicopter crash in Hawaii. All 7 people aboard a tour helicopter died when it crashed Friday on a steep mountain hillside. One of the victims is Whitney Wood of Burleson. Another is Natalie Prince of Fort Worth. Prince's family has scheduled a memorial service for Friday. Federal aviation investigators are still trying to figure out what caused the crash. Also among the dead, a family of 4 from New Jersey and the pilot.
In Fort Worth. Now, if you have any information that could help solve this crime, you are asked to call the Fort Worth Police Department.
The Fort Worth City Council will soon consider a resolution asking Congress to toughen federal laws regarding gun sales. CBS 11's Rebecca Rodriguez has more on the protest that today surrounded the city's gun show.
Fort Worth.
The council expects to vote on the resolution on August 8th.
Texan Lance Armstrong.
A case of air rage you won't believe. Wait till you hear who one irate passenger chose to pick on.
2 tiny hostages are released, but a man is still holding 3 people captive in Orlando.
And it may be better than a prescription. Coming up, the benefits of meditation.
And I'm Babe Loffenberg.
A tense hostage standoff continues in Florida tonight, and police fear it could go on for days. A gunman accused of killing a convenience store clerk burst into an Orlando home yesterday afternoon, taking 5 people hostage. Today, the gunman released 2 young children, but a 16-year-old girl, an infant, and a woman remain captive inside. In a taped statement, the gunman has said he will not hurt the hostages.
Well, you've heard.
Many doctors now realize the health benefits of meditation, but the specifics of those benefits are still the subject of extensive research. A new study published in the journal Stroke attempts to find some answers. It found that transcendental meditation practiced for 20 minutes twice a day can be just as effective as prescription drugs and lifestyle changes in treating hypertension.
Well, the hospital that Dallas's poor and indigent rely on for medical care needs help from the public.
And that help could come in the form of a big tax increase. Find out how much coming up next.
The Dallas hospital that provides medical care for thousands of the area's indigent patients is in critical condition tonight financially.
Parkland Hospital is asking for $99 million in new county taxes to fill a record shortfall in its budget. But tonight there are questions and concerns about the hospital's proposed cure for the financial crisis. The Parkland Health and Hospital System. Anderson says he welcomes any review of the hospital's finances. A recent study found that current taxes alone could not cover the care of the county's indigent patients.
And now, Storm Team 11 weather with Gwen Tolbert.
When we're really starting to get used to these 90-degree temperatures.
Yes,
Not
it
too
is
bad.
cool and fairly, well, cool, relatively speaking,
Yeah.
and fairly comfortable. Let's have a look at where we're at right now. How do you have been with those triple-digit daytime highs?
Low 90s, I'll take it.
Right.
We'll take
This time of year.
Feels
I
better
know.
than
It
100 in
certainly
your
does.
mind.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
nice. All right, well, that's 11 News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
The Score with Babe Laufenberg is next. Have a great week.
Now, live in HD, covering Dallas, Fort Worth, and all of North Texas. This is CBS 11 News This Morning.
3 people are badly hurt after 2 explosions rock a McKinney neighborhood. A North Texas mother is shot in the face while sitting in a mall parking lot, and police get a frantic 911 call from a gas station saying 2 people had been shot. Good morning, I'm JD Miles. Thanks for joining us for the second half hour of CBS 11 Saturday morning. And I've got Christine Kahanick with us, and she's got a great forecast for the weekend. It's going to get warm.
Yes, it is. It is a little on the cloudy side this morning, but don't worry about it too much. A couple showers also showing a festival. No weather worries there. Just enjoy and, just be prepared for a spotty shower or two.
Well, I'll be there. I'm looking forward to that tonight, too. So
All
get
right.
to introduce a band. I'm excited about that.
Which one?
America.
All right.
Big fan. Big
yeah,
fan.
me too. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Christine.
Sure.
New this morning, a Fort Worth man is in custody, suspected of shooting his neighbor and then involving police in a standoff. This all started around midnight on Avenue M. A witness told police he and a friend were sitting on a porch when a man came over and a fight broke out. The witness says the suspect shot his so-called friend up to 4 times and then barricaded himself inside a house. Police tell us the suspect eventually surrendered around 3. The victim is expected to survive. And Dallas police are investigating a double shooting from overnight. Someone from a gas station at Inwood and Stemmons called 911 and reported a car full of bullet holes showed up at the station. The man and the woman inside had been shot. They both were taken to the hospital. Investigators are trying to determine the original crime scene. Whoever shot them has not been found. 3 people are badly injured after explosions rocked a McKinney neighborhood. Several homes are now destroyed, and people from 21 houses in the area were taken to shelters for the night. This happened early Friday evening in the 600 block of Finette in McKinney. For some, the hours after the explosion were filled with panic.
I just need to know if it's them.
That need to know overwhelmed Georgia Cox. She watched smoke pour out of a house that belongs to an elderly couple. An official with Victim Relief Ministries says as many as 35 people spent the night at the First Baptist Church in McKinney. Well, a woman was shot outside North Park Mall last night while waiting to pick up her daughter. Dallas police are looking for a carjacker who approached the woman in the parking lot of North Park Center in Dallas. This happened around 9:30 last night. Police say a woman was sitting in her parked truck waiting for her daughter to get out of a movie when a man walked to the driver's side window and started shooting. The victim was able to drive away from her attacker. She was taken to a local hospital in stable condition. 2 young girls are in the hospital this morning, still fighting for their lives after a terrible accident in Richardson. Police say the sisters, ages 2 and 3, nearly drowned Friday in a backyard swimming pool. Investigators say the grandmother didn't know the girls had gone into the backyard pool area until their 2 uncles came back and saw them. They performed CPR until paramedics arrived, but at last word, the girls needed machines to breathe. Church members and church officials and neighbors are in absolute shock over the arrest of a minister. Police arrested Joe Barron, a minister at Prestonwood Baptist Church in Plano. The arrest happened in Bryan on Thursday during a sex sting operation. Police say Barron drove to the central Texas city to meet a 13-year-old girl he had supposedly been chatting with online for weeks. The girl turned out to be a police officer, and now Barron is charged with online solicitation of a minor. Neighbors say they feel especially terrible for Barron's wife. Barron bonded out of jail last night. Prestonwood officials have not commented yet on his employment status. Now, new information about the children taken from a West Texas polygamous compound. The state is now reviewing the ages of some of the girls. 2 times in the past week, the state admitted the girls who gave birth while in CPS custody were in fact adults. The ages of 24 children are now being looked at. Grand Prairie police are making it easier for residents to file police reports. You can now file those reports online. The department website allows victims of minor offenses like vandalism or theft to file a report right away. The website then lets the victim know if the crime is serious enough to call police. The FAA is testing public safety at DFW Airport this morning. The Lifesaver 2008 simulated emergency exercise is underway right now. The drill is designed to test the airport's ability to handle an airplane and terminal explosion. The FAA requires the mock drill every 3 years. The showdown with Motown returns to Detroit today. The Stars must win in order to stay alive in the Western Conference Finals. The Red Wings lead the series 3-1. Today's game starts at 12:30. Go Stars. With gas prices setting at an all-time high, some simple things you can do to save money at the pump. And a news correspondent injured in a car bomb in Iraq. How Kimberly Dozier says she overcame the traumatic experience. And then thrill seekers have a new roller coaster ride in North Texas. It's been nearly 2 years since CBS News correspondent Kimberly Dozier was injured in a car bomb explosion in Iraq. That explosion killed members of her crew and a U.S. soldier. To get over the trauma of that experience, Dozier said it helped to write about it. CBS 11's Ginger Allen talked with Kimberly Dozier about her book and the day her life changed. Dozier says she plans to continue work as a reporter for CBS News and hopes to eventually return to the Middle East sometime next year. Thanks, Christine. Saving money on gas. Coming up, the one day of the week you might want to avoid filling up. And can you find Ivory Coast on a map? Meet the 2-year-old who can. Plus, we'll introduce you to our pet of the week and how you can adopt her. Overnight, the average price of unleaded gas in Dallas held steady at $3.70 a gallon. In Fort Worth, it actually dropped a penny to $3.70 as well. With these record-setting prices at the pump, even a little savings can go a long way. Teresa Frosini has some ways you can save money in this Money Savers report. We'll get back to Plano in just a few minutes and CBS 11 special coverage of the Komen, North Texas Race for the Cure. But first, let's get you caught up on some of the news this Saturday morning. I'm J.D. Miles. New this morning, a Grand Prairie family awoke to a frightening scene overnight. A truck driver lost control of his 18-wheeler and plowed into a homeowner's yard, hitting a tree. It happened on Carrier Parkway in Grand Prairie. Police say the truck burst into flames upon impact and the driver died at the scene. The homeowner says he heard what sounded like an explosion and couldn't believe his eyes when he looked outside.
It's like an inferno because both the fuel tanks blew up right away. And you can see from one of the trees, the one that was right under it, it just burned to the top. It's higher than the house, about 30 foot to the top of the house.
Investigators say the tree likely kept the truck from hitting the man's home. Also new this morning, a woman dies in an accident in Frisco. This happened on Custer Road just north of Highway 121. We're told she was riding in a convertible Mercedes when an SUV hit the car on the passenger side. Both drivers were taken to the hospital. There's no word on their condition. A Dallas store owner says he was just protecting his property when he sent a man to the hospital. We're told that man broke into a food mart on Park Lane and started stealing. The owner was asleep inside the store and woke up catching the thief in the act. He shot him twice. The robber ran out of the store and eventually collapsed. He's now at Baylor Hospital in serious condition. An alert in Plano, where police are searching for a man accused of kidnapping a woman in Plano and attempting to sexually assault her. Police say it happened around 10:30 last night in the parking lot of a Fiesta supermarket at Avenue K and Parker in East Plano. A source says the attacker forced the woman at knife point to get into her car and take him to Legacy Drive, where he taped her mouth. But the woman fought back and grabbed his knife. The suspect is described as Hispanic, between 20 and 25, and has a tattoo on his right forearm and a mohawk hairstyle. Major business news this morning. The unemployment rate is now at 5.5%, its highest level since 2004. Crude prices also rose nearly $11 to a record $139 a barrel yesterday. That's the biggest one-day increase for oil in history. Those two factors sent stocks plunging Friday. The Dow closed at 394 points to 12,209, and the Nasdaq lost 75. So far, oil prices haven't affected the average price of a gallon of unleaded too much. Gas is still $3.86 in Dallas, and it's now $3.86 in Fort Worth, up just 1 cent from last night. Well, let's go back out now to CBS 11's meteorologist Larry Mowry, live at the Komen, North Texas Race for the Cure in Plano. Larry.
Hey, JD, thank you this morning. We've got a great
Welcome back to CBS 11 special coverage of the Coleman, North Texas Race for the Cure. We'll get back to Plano in just a few minutes, but I'm J.D. Miles, and here's a look at the top stories of the day. A truck driver died after crashing his 18-wheeler in Grand Prairie. Investigators say he lost control and ended up hitting a tree. The truck burst into flames. A Dallas store owner says he woke up this morning and found a thief inside his business. The owner shot the suspected thief twice. He's now at Baylor Hospital. And police are looking for 2 armed men who robbed the Zales jewelry outlet store on John Carpenter Freeway last night. A security guard fired several shots, but it's unclear if he hit either of the robbers. And the search continues for a woman who police say abandoned her 12-year-old son at DFW Airport yesterday morning. This is a picture from an airport surveillance camera of Jolanda Newberg. Her son says she went to the bathroom and he never saw her after that. Cesar Chavez Boulevard is the overwhelming winner of the Dallas City Council survey to rename Industrial Boulevard. The council will make the decision final on June 25th. And Senator Hillary Clinton will officially drop out of the presidential race later this morning. However, she's not expected to quit the campaign trail. Aides say she will campaign for former rival Senator Barack Obama. Now let's go back to CBS 11 meteorologist Larry Mowry live at the Coleman, North Texas Race for the Cure in Plano. Larry.
JD, good morning to you, and we've got a great morning.
And welcome back to CBS 11 special coverage of the Coleman, North Texas Race for the Cure. We have news just into the CBS 11 newsroom. Now, earlier we told you about a woman who was missing from DFW Airport. This is a picture from a surveillance camera of Jolanda Newberg. Her son says he went to the bathroom yesterday and never saw her after that. Just into the CBS 11 newsroom, we've heard that the woman has been found and she is okay. So that's certainly some good news we want to pass along to you from earlier in our show. Now, back to the Coleman, North Texas Race for the Cure. We want to go to CBS 11 meteorologist Larry Mowry, who is working up a sweat and about to start walking or running himself, I guess. Larry?
Yeah,